This afternoon's hobby enhancement is a Thai tea flavoured sweet drink. I realised the other day in my continuing painting exploits that I'd cleared a certain milestone. This glorious horde of red-dressed angry bastards is everything which I had intended to collect and paint when I started off on this particular army. The original army concept was to have an awful lot of these sorts of red-dressed fellows with the heavy armour and shields marching up in formation. No monsters, just some riffraff to run around the edges and soak up crossbows and bullets and whatnot so these guys could get into the mix. I always knew I was going to need some heavy cavalry, so I got some of those. And as you can see in the back there, I got some light cav as well, because even though they're the least value out of all of the things in the army for the time it takes to paint versus how long they actually do anything on the table, they're worth having, and there's some dogs at the back. The general idea was to not need monsters because we would have lots of redirects and flanking maneuvers and things going on, so this great wall of red painted metal could get into the fray. Of course, it never goes that way, does it? The box set, the battalion box set, came with a couple of chariots in it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to waste them. I mean, the box set's great value, so I picked that up. And I'm not going to waste the chariots. So I ended up building them, of course, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be a good idea to have the standard bearer as a chariot rider? I've got another one I've bodged up out of a warrior, but I wanted one that really looked the part. So one of these chariots ends up being a standard bearer. That's a little bit superfluous to the original needs, but yeah, it's still red. It's still in the vein of things. Then, of course, I saw this lovely fellow on the shelf and I thought, you know what, I don't need a monster for this list. It's not the original concept, but the model just looks so damn cool, I regret it if I don't buy it. He's not painted yet, as you can see, but he's, well, he started. We'll get there. Then I found this ugly bugger sitting on the shelf at home, and it was only $20-something. It wasn't worth selling. But I thought, you know, he looks cool, and you can have giants. You can have chaos giants in the Chaos Warrior list. So I painted him up and thought, what the hell, we'll throw him in the mix as well. Naturally, I couldn't stop at one. I went into the same game store. They got all sorts of weird and wacky stuff, mostly for Dungeons and Dragons, and I saw these each for about $20, $27 each, thereabouts, and I thought, oh, they look good. I'm going to get them just so I can paint them up, then I'll find a way to stick them in the army. And if you've been watching the battle reports, you would have seen some of these chaps in action. But it doesn't stop there, does it? You keep going back to the same bloody store and finding more weird and interesting things, and lo and behold, you see this fella on the shelf. He's not painted yet. Well, he's not finished yet. I've got to touch him up and I've got to put some grass on him, but gives you some idea of just how many weird and wacky things you can get. That one's a Reaper miniature, I think. And while I was there, I saw this really cool little giant. Apparently she's a frost giant. Also not painted, so she's on the list of things left to paint. So I picked that one up. And while I was in the store that day, I found that fella. So since the last giants I've painted, I now have another 3 largely unanticipated giants. Makes 6 of the buggers all up. Well, they're going to have to demote this fella because you can only have one per every 1,000 points, and this army caps out a bit over 5,000 points, so we have to demote that motherfucker there to a giant spawn, which is quite reasonable when you consider the number of arms and heads he's got. Suffice to say, I should have finished this army by now, and I've finished everything that I had intended to paint. The army concept is full and complete, and then some, and every time I go into that shop I see more shit that I want to buy and paint. But, for the sake of argument, the original concept is done and dusted. It's fully intact, it's functional, has no monsters, no giants. It's got cavalry, it's got dogs hiding at the back. This is not the way it would appear on the table, actually. You would have most of the fast-moving and light things in front ready to redirect or soak up incoming shot. And it works out pretty much right on 2,500 points. Which means that the rest of the army that haven't finished painting or the additional bits basically is 2,500 points in its own right. That's disconcerting. So this is good for a battle. I'm going to have to field the army in its original concept and see how it goes. Sans chariots, sans flying things, sans giants, and see whether it was a good idea. The one thing I can say about having bought all the additional crap is it's going to be a lot less repetitious. This, when I look at this army, I think, well, it's pretty. It's got the theme right. You've got that wall of iron. But I reckon it might be a one-trick pony without mixing it up with some of the other elements that I've purchased since then. At any rate, that's all I wanted to share. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think of the viability of the original concept army as compared to, oh Jesus, the silliness that has ensued. And, well, for now, it's time to call it a night.